Hey, hey everyone, I'm John Morris. I'm one of the owners of Morris Collectibles. That's a Pokemon card business out of our living room. We've got about $5,100 roughly in sales. That's for the month of February. And I'm going to tell you how to get your business started in five or six, seven or eight ways. Kind of like a rough outline on how to get your business going and how to develop a plan for your Pokemon card business. I guess I need to do some form of credibility check here. I guess I'll post up my PayPal, my PayPal statements and stuff like that. So maybe you're a hobbyist, maybe you just really enjoy Pokemon for what it is, and or maybe you have this entrepreneurial drive. Everybody wants to make money. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you say, "Oh, I don't want to make money. Money's the devil." Well, money's like oxygen. You kind of need it to survive, but you don't have to build your entire life around it. People say the love of money, not money. Money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. I think was how the adage originally was. But um, if you are just looking to start your business, this is a great way to do it. Pokemon cards is a very high volume game. It's not it may be in like graded single slabs. Maybe it's a lower volume game. Like maybe you can get decent returns on that kind of stuff. I'm not in that world. I'm in the sealed world, primarily Japanese. I poke around up here. This is some of my Japanese booster boxes that I've got up here and some singled out packs. If you want to take it a step further and get into it, this I genuinely and highly encourage you to do it. You can get on a TCG player, you can get on eBay, but if you're looking to build a brand, a true brand, not just fly by night, make a few extra bucks. If you want to make a few extra bucks, TCG player and eBay are the way to do it. If you want to build something that will build you wealth, give you much more satisfaction than just a couple dopamine hits for making a couple sales. I highly recommend this is how you get started. I'm brand new, so I'm going through all of this right now. That's part of the credibility check here. I guess that I posted the not eBay, but the PayPal shots. I am super new to this, so this is super fresh information. I'm not saying this is the law or this is the exact way to do it. This is just how I'm doing it. Okay. And if I could go back and do it again, this is how I would have done it. Um, I built my metaphorical Pokemon business cake out of the right ingredients, but at the wrong times. Or think of it like building a building or a structure, but your foundation's weak. So the first step in this is truly the step one, I guess in this little 10-digit business thing is decide your brand. What is your brand? What do you want to do? Do you want to sell singled, slabbed out, graded cards? Do you want to sell sealed product? Um, how do you want to do this? Do you want to do eBay consignments? What do you want to do? Decide your brand. There's a really good book called Brand Real. Let me look up who that's by. I read that book originally in 2019 because I was going to, no, I wasn't going to, I started a soft plastics fishing lure company. It was called Morris and Son Custom Baits. Originally, Morris and Son Custom Baits turned into Morris Flyco, which is a DBA under a different LLC. The book Brand Real: How Smart Companies Live Their Brand Promise and Inspire Fierce Customer Loyalty. That was the book. And the book is written by Laurent Lawrence Vincent. There, I should have figured that out beforehand. It's a really good book. The cover looks like a soda can. It's right here. That's what it looks like. Check that book out. Fierce Customer Loyalty. So we build these parasocial relationships with ourselves and our customers. So it's important just to kind of like show up. So when you're building your brand, who are you? Who is X company? Me, for instance. Who is Morris Collectibles? Well, Morris Collectibles is an online business. It is safe, reliable, transparent. You can put in trustworthy. You have to build your brand. So I can say all of those things, but if I can't prove those, then it doesn't mean anything because words are only as strong as the actions that follow them. So you can say that, oh, I'm trustworthy, but until you prove it, no one believes you. And that's where you build your credibility. That's where you build this customer loyalty. Um, Silver company just walked in. So build your brand, build your social media presence. Do not market product until you have built your brand, so you've built your baseline for what is my brand. All right, so that's going to be your YouTube, that's going to be your Facebook, that's going to be your Instagram. So you need to build these followings so you can establish presence. Just showing up and making a video like this. So, all right, now we've established brand, so we're going to get to two. We're going to form our LLC. Forming an LLC is really not that difficult. You need to decide if it's going to be member owned, if it's going to be single member owned LLCs. Um, you need to pick who's going to be your like legal representative. So if you get in some legal troubles, who's going to get first? Who's going to get those actions and tell you that hey, you've been sued. So the LLC is important because it's a pass through entity, which is important for your taxes, but it's important because it protects your personal assets. So my car I have sitting in my driveway is under my name. So say I got in an accident and I got sued. Let's say I was found at fault. All this kind of stuff, right? So worst case scenario, they get me for X amount of money and I can't afford it and they're going to bankrupt me. Well, because that car's in my name, they can take it. Right. So let's say you're opening a Pokemon card pack with a pair of scissors, you slip and you stab yourself in the cheek. Right. It's not my fault, but you were opening up a pack of Pokemon cards that you bought from me. So if you were to try to sue me, you would actually sue my LLC. You wouldn't sue me. You would be suing me, but it's my company. So if you bankrupt my company, I'm not affected. My family's protected, my personal assets are protected, and it's no skin off my back. Right. So that's why an LLC is important. So after you get your LLC established, three, you're going to get your EIN, which is employment or employee ID number or identification number. You get that from the IRS. You just apply for it. It's a pretty quick process. It takes there's about a 2 week turnaround on that. All right, so now we're selling Pokemon cards. So yeah, there's tax-free benefits for what I'm about to say next, but you need a reseller's license. Each state does it kind of differently. I live in Texas, so we have it's a tax and use form where you apply for that, and then you also have a like a tax certification. And for each specific transaction that you do for tax-free purposes, you actually needed that tax certificate form to be filled out for that lender of that item. They have to retain that for 4 years. You should retain a copy for 4 years as well. This helps keep a paper trail to also protect you for your Pokemon card business. So from there, you need to get your bank account. I think we're at one, two, three, four, five. Number five, get a business bank account. Get it set up. So you've got your reseller's license, you're licensed for business, um, all this kind of stuff. So get your business account, get all that set up, business bank account, excuse me, get all that set up. Takes a little bit of time, a little bit of vetting, always a little bit of headache, but overall it's pretty simple. Now you've done majority of the big stuff Now this is where this is something I learned in the army. I don't have mine with me, and I probably should have. Just for the sake of this, I'm gonna grab my Gengar binder off the back shelf here. So if this binder had a bunch of sleeves for document protecting sleeves, so this is what I would call in the army. This would have been my I Love Me book. My I Love Me book in the army. It had all of my awards. It had my birth certificate, my social security card. It had my enlistment orders. It had all of my orders to move from location to location for PCSs. It had my CIF records. It had my flight physicals. It had my instructor certifications. It had my college not degrees, but my college credit hours, which I need to finish, like 4 credit hours short of an associate's. So, build your I Love Me book. This has all of your important information. This is where you're going to keep a copy of your LLC. This is where you're going to keep a copy of your EIN, copy of a reseller's license. You're going to keep all of this information, put it in a binder, retain a copy digitally, but you need to retain a copy also physically. Uh, Say your computer crashes, you don't have it backed up for your Google Cloud or your Apple Cloud, and you lose everything. Well, then you're going to have to go back through and get all these documents, and legal documents like this, usually you have to pay to get a new copy of them. Like if you lose your birth certificate in the state of Texas, it's $22 to get a new birth certificate. So just keep that in mind. When you lose legal documents, like you lose a driver's license, you got to pay for a new one. You lose a credit card, sometimes you got to pay for a new one. It's just that's just how it works. So retain physical copies of everything, retain digital copies of everything, create your My I Love Me book. You can keep copies of your budget, you can keep tax records, all this stuff in there. Keep it secret, keep it safe. Okay. So you've created your budget, you created now, well, really now we're going to create a budget and we're going to make cost sheets. So, budget is how much is your website? Um, how much is your how much is your web domain? How much is your Google emails for your business? How much is your advertising, which really you shouldn't be advertising yet, but these are the kind of costs you will have. Not only that, but you need to keep your ledger for your product coming in. So if your product is coming in, like mine from Japan, I have invoices from my Japanese distributor, and then I have copies of all of my Wise receipts. So if I have to prove that this was expense and then this was profit, because if you can't prove what expense is, then they're going to tax the ever living crap out of you because you can't prove your expense. So if you have $1,500 that you spent on these cards, and then they come back and all they see is, okay, well, you've got $2,000 in sales. Well, they don't see the expense versus the sales. They don't see that there was a 1,500, well, I paid $1,500 for these cards and I only sold them for $2,000. So really, the only taxable income is $500. If you can't prove it, they don't care. It didn't happen. Protect yourself, protect your company. Okay. So we're creating our budget and our cost sheets. This goes back to my I Love Me book. Retain your own records. Every quarter, you're going to have to report your tax earnings. um, you're going to have to pay quarterly taxes. So every 3 months, you're going to be paying your sales taxes and your all these taxes, right? So retain copies. So when it comes around for tax season, um, you know what you have to pay, or if you've already paid. Um, you've got like a 15.25% self-employment tax that you're going to have to worry about, which covers Social Security and the self-employment tax itself. And then you have sales tax. The customer should be paying the sales tax, but if for some reason you're not having them pay sales tax, you could end up in nexus laws. You could end up in a nexus law situation, which is it's usually much higher amounts than you'll probably have to worry about getting started out. I'm not worried about nexus laws right now, but I am making people pay their sales tax. There's different thresholds for nexus for each individual state. So I think Texas is like $250,000 and then X amount of sales in the state, and then you have to start paying uh, franchise tax is like 2.5 million, and then let's say I didn't live in Texas, but I had like $2.5 million in sales, and let's say Kentucky. Well, I would have to pay Kentucky's Nexus taxes, but we're not talking so much, I guess, about taxes for your Pokemon business, but as how to get started. So I'm gonna back off this a little bit, and we can get into that stuff a little bit later. I'm not a tax advisor. This is just what I've learned so far. Okay, don't take this as law. I've already said this, right? Take all this with a grain of salt. Make sure you do your own homework. I'm just hoping I can help you on your way. So now we need a source inventory. I like Japanese distribution. Uh, in the Japanese, I say distribution. Really, it's not distribution. It's just you need to find someone that can get you Japanese cards at wholesale pricing. Retrospects is a dude here in the U.S. He has really good wholesale pricing. I personally have a Japanese distributor that I really like. If you can find one or two Japanese distributors starting out, I recommend it. Find someone with good pricing or the best pricing for what you're looking for. Do an order with them. Um, then find someone else and do an order with them. Start building these relationships with more than one person. Hold on, I gotta drink some coffee here. Because what happens if I pay I pay my dude and then he gets arrested? Well, I lose all my money, and then there's a chance that I never get those cards. Well, okay, maybe I'm out $367 to this guy, but I still need cards. That's just a loss. You've got to you win some and you lose some, and sadly, that's just one you lost, right? So you need to have you need to be diversified for where you're getting your cards from. Otherwise, you could end up in a really bad situation. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, um, because things like that can happen. They could lose their Instagram account. They could get hit by a car. They could go to prison. They could forget to pay their phone bill. There's all these different factors that could happen. So you need to keep your eyes out for different avenues for getting cards. Um, I got a lot of these cards for way under MSRP, these English ETBs, and I'm selling them for right at MSRP, a little bit more than that. And MSRP is kind of a scary word right now because it doesn't really exist. Uh, but anyway, so we've done one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, eight and a half, nine things. This is when you are finally going to build your website. I use Wix. I would, I'm not going to lie to your face and tell you it's easy to make make a Wix website. But it's not incredibly difficult, but it is time consuming. There is a reason at the top of the website they say hire a professional, and it's because it is difficult to do. But with enough time and tinkering around, you'll figure it out. There's an AI program now to where you can actually, if you have the premium Wix, which I do, which is what I use for e-commerce, you put in your AI, hey, I'm a card shop, I'm a online only shop. You punch all this stuff in, and then it kind of generates a website, and it'll tell you, oh, I'm using these colors and this kind of stuff. So you can mess around with that stuff, get a head start. Like all I have is home and about on my website right now. Not home and about, but home and shop. I need to add an about and like some contact information, and then I need return policies and some other legal notes in there for people to read to make the business legal. So you've built your brand, you've formed your LLC, you got your EIN, you got your reseller's license, you got your business bank account, you created your I Love Me book, you created a budget and cost sheet, you sourced inventory, and then you built your website. So if you build your website right after deciding your brand, then you are wasting your money. You are wasting your money because that is exactly what I did. I went through two different sets of logos. I was like, I'm selling sealed Japanese product. I had made all these decisions and then I made the website. And you know what? I've already spent $48 on a website that I can't sell commerce on. I can't sell anything on there because I'm still waiting for all of my legal documents to get back to me because I did form my LLC. I got my EIN. I'm still actually working on the reseller's license, which you really only need for like tax purposes, but for an English distributor down the road, you will also need that. If you're an online only online shop. English distribution is going to be pretty difficult to get, so I've kind of hedging my bets on Japanese cards, and we will move into singles later down the road, graded singles, but as of right now, it's just Japanese. Um, my last bit of advice I could give you for building and starting a Pokemon card business is take your time. Don't rush the process. Stay on top of your time management. You have to hold yourself accountable. If you want this to succeed, you have to be transparent with yourself and you have to hold yourself accountable. But that doesn't mean beat yourself up, because you still have to take your time doing this and creating your brand and creating your business. Build it up slowly. What wealth is not achieved overnight. It is a long process. So take your time, do it right, enjoy the process, trust the process. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and that's kind of really all I got. So thanks for hanging around for all of this. I'm John Morris. I own Morris Collectibles. It's a Pokemon card business out of Northeast Texas. We've got about $5,100 in sales for the month of February. If you got any questions, hit us up here in the comments. Find us on Instagram at Morris Collectibles. Everybody, thanks so much for viewing and listening. We've got over 200 subscribers now, and it means a lot to us. Be kind, be safe, eat your vegetables, and we'll be seeing you.